Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very special broadcast of the Dr. Marquita Blades Show, Candid Conversations that Create Change. I am Dr. Blades, and this is my lovely publisher, Jamie Hopkins. And the reason why we're coming to you live today is to celebrate the launch of the anthology Chronicles of the Chronically Ill. Woo! Okay, so that was our first reason why we planned this special broadcast. But as of last night, it has turned from being just a launch party to a celebration because we hit number one on Amazon in the bestsellers category. How many categories are we bestseller?
We're bestseller in all three categories.
In three categories, but we're number one in one category.
And number two in the second one. Hey! Oh!
Yes, so we are super excited. As you can see, this is a party. Jamie?
Yes. Congratulations.
Congratulations to you. Cheers. Y'all, it has been a long, hard road to get this project off the ground. So you're going to be hearing from myself, you're going to hear from Jamie, you're going to hear from all of my fabulous co-authors who will be joining us from their various locations. We're going to talk to you about what this process was like, of all of us coming together and sharing our stories. And we're also going to share a little bit about what's in our chapters. But you know, if you really want the real tea on that, you got to buy the book.
Yes.
And you can get it today for $3.49. You can get the ebook downloaded for $3.49. After today, or after when, Jamie, does it go back to a regular price?
In a couple of days.
In a couple of days. Okay, but
so
get
like
it today.
In 48 hours.
Get it. Just stop playing. Just get the book today.
Yeah, because it's going up, boo.
Okay, so before we do, I want to show you the trailer for the book, and then we will jump right in. I get chills every time I look at that.
Every time I see it, I get excited. This has been an interesting journey. Like, it's only been 6 months, right? Like, the whole project only was 6 months.
Wow.
But so much happened in those 6 months. And so just to see the fruit of all of your work, you know, I get teared up every time. And I'm the publisher, so when I read the stories, and I've read it before everyone else read the entire book, and every time I read each story, like every time I would tear up at the same spot, because the women in this book are so freaking amazing. And even more so now because I feel like I know them in a whole different light than when we first started this journey 6 months ago. Even with you, and we have moved on to like greater and different and more projects, but it's like I've learned you in a whole different spot too. So it's just really been an honor. This whole project has been an honor.
Yeah, I don't even know what else I can add to that, Jamie. So many things have happened, as Jamie stated, since we started this, and I think I was a little bit naive when I started the process because I worked with Jamie on another anthology, The Whole Truth and Nothing But the Truth, So Help Me Teachers, which was pioneered by Vicki Kirk May out of Alabama.
Yeah.
And
that was an award-winning book.
Yes, it was, honey.
Wow.
Jamie don't play with these books, y'all. So working on that book with Vicki and Jamie made me realize that I was just sitting on my stories. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to get off of it.
That's what you said.
And I couldn't decide which anthology I would write first, if I would do the Mediocre Teacher Project or if I would do Chronicles of the Chronically Ill, because both stories were so deeply connected. My chronic illness is what led me to become a mediocre teacher. Wow. And I kind of felt like I couldn't do one without the other. And so I talked to my husband about it, and he said, well, just do both of them.
Right.
And so I came to Jamie, and I said I want to do both of them. And she did side-eye me a little bit. She was trying to act like she wasn't side-eyeing me, but she really was, because she was like, who does 2 anthologies at the same time? But if you want to,
that's
you
because
can.
I knew the price of that.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm like, you want to double that? Oh, okay. She really serious about this thing.
I was so serious, but I didn't realize that, well, because, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know that my life would take the twists and turns that it did in the process. And so for us to be at this moment now where it's finished, it's published, it is printed.
Yeah.
This came last week, and I was able to hold it in my hand and get my pre-readers a copy so that I could get their advanced feedback on it. Yeah. And then we kept pre-selling the ebook. And for Jamie to send me, well, she called me last night with the news.
Yeah, like I called, as soon as I saw, I was like, wait a minute.
Y'all, I'm so slow. I didn't even really understand what was going on.
I called her, like, I didn't even, normally we'll text each other, like, hey, can you talk real quick? No, I didn't even warn her. I just picked up the phone and dialed her number. Yeah. And I was like, girl, you're number 2. That means we could be number 1 before the end of the night.
Okay, so I wasn't understanding, right? Like, oh, I thought that you have to be number 1 for it to mean something. It wasn't landing on me that we were already on the bestsellers list, and she was just giving me the ranking. So I was like, oh, okay. I said, well, just let me just remind some people to buy the book. And Jamie was like, Marquita, do you really get what I'm telling you? And I said, no, I don't think I do.
I said, girl, you're a bestseller. She's like, ah!
Then I started hollering. Yes, hollering, y'all.
That was great. It was a great moment.
Yes.
Yeah, because like no one really understands what it takes to be a best. It's not an easy feat. It really takes a lot of hard work. And a lot of things go into that. It's not just having really great content, but if that book cover don't pop, then no one wants to even look inside for the content. If the title doesn't pop, there are different elements that this book has to have in order to make people say, oh, let me check that out. And some people who purchased the book, we don't even know.
Right.
So for it to be number 1 and to get to that level before we even launch.
Before we even launch. Like, this is the official launch.
The
book ain't even out yet.
Yes. So it was a great accomplishment, and I knew the hard work that you went through. You know, a lot of people, and I told your business this morning in the post.
Girl, you put all of my business on the book, as they call it. Every bit of my business. So I guess I'll have to just tell it, and I had planned on telling it in detail today on camera, so I can't back out now because you already put it out there.
Are those our lovely co-authors?
Those are our lovely co-authors. Listen, y'all, so this could not have happened. You can't write an anthology by yourself. It's not an anthology.
It's a book.
It's just anthology. I don't know what it is. But you can't.
It's an
You. If any of my regular viewers of the Dr. Marquita Blades show are watching right now, I just want you to understand that this is probably mostly Quita, who you're seeing right now, and not Dr. Blades. Don't be confused, okay?
She'll be back in 30 days.
I'll be back.
For the mediocre teacher one.
Yes, back in 30 days, acting like this again, because we have another book coming out. But next Sunday, Dr. Blades will be back in all of her glory. But right now, you just don't have to deal with Quita Child, because she done wrote a book, and she's a bestseller, and she don't know how to act right now. So, grammar and everything just out the window. Don't worry about it. But anyway, you can't write an anthology by yourself. Yeah. And especially one of this nature where you're asking people to be very personal and transparent and to share things about their daily lives that many of their close friends and relatives may not even know. Yes. So I knew that this was a huge ask for me to place upon people. So when the co-authors started agreeing and coming on board, I was already overwhelmed that they, number one, believed in this vision enough, and number two, that they would trust me, not even knowing me. They don't know me. Some of them just met me through Facebook. So they really didn't have any reason to trust me. What they went on, and I guess they'll tell us what really made them join. I can't speak for them. I can't speak for them, but I just have to say to y'all, thank y'all so much for sharing the vision and bringing it to life, and for holding this project in the road when I couldn't even hold up my end of the bargain. See, I'm about to get ready to cry a little bit now, because this thing almost didn't come out on time because of me. And I felt bad that I had pulled you all into, it was going to come out one way or the other.
It was going to come out.
Yeah, that's right, because Jamie, at one point, Jamie said,
I'm coming down to the hospital.
Jamie said, I've been saving all your Facebook posts, and I'll write your chapter if I have to.
I said, you already wrote the book in your Facebook post.
And I told my husband,
that's your chapter.
I said, babe, I love Jamie, but she can't write my story for me. I got to get it together. So anyway, I just thank y'all so much. I just can never thank you enough for being on this journey with me. And I want to congratulate all of you on this major accomplishment and the history that we have made together and the foundation that we have set for changing lives. I don't know if y'all realize just how impactful this book is going to be, and how people are going to read this. And from the minute they finish reading your chapter, they will never, ever, ever be the same person again. That's huge. So I want to thank y'all for that and congratulate y'all. And with that, Jamie, you go ahead and do something, child, because I'm about to do.
You about to pass? I'm about to cry too. We both gonna be sitting here crying. But the thing that I would like to say to the co-authors is that I knew going in that because of what I do and my job, and I love it so much, and it's all about healing, I knew that this book, you needed that for yourself. And not only, it went beyond what I imagined, because I thought that this book not only was going to heal you, but it was going to heal everyone that read your story, but it helped me heal in areas that I didn't even think I needed healing from. I'm thinking I'm good, I'm cool, but then I read, some of your stories, and it's so relatable. And that's what I wanted. That's why, my heart was so attached to this book. It's like, other than any other project, not to downplay any other, client that I've ever worked with before, but I'm so in tune with this particular project because it's so dear to me, because I suffer with nerve pain. Even today, like I was telling, Dr. Blaze, it took me a lot to get out of bed. I've been in pain for a while, and I couldn't get myself together. So I barely made it here, and I was late and everything. But people don't understand what it takes just to get out of bed every single day and kill it, because I don't have a choice. And I'm in pain, and I do it, but I have to incorporate self-care. So being very true and honest and raw and authentic, and like, listen, some days I want to kill people, and then some days I want to, can I say that on live TV?
You said it already.
Can you bleep it? Some days I just want to take people and do some ungodly things to them, and other days, I'm good and I'm happy. But people, because I look okay and I look healthy, they discount the fact that it took me a lot just to smile today. And so, for being so raw in your book, I left your voice right there on the page, because that's what people need to know. That's what people need to see. That's what people need to hear. And so your story is going to change so many lives that you won't even see. Because this book has already been sold in the UK and other places, Romania and Australia, places that we've never been, and we don't know nobody there, but they're reading your story and they're being touched and they're being healed. And that is the power of your words that's going to live forever, whether you're here or not. So thank you for being you.
All right. So,
that's enough talking, right? Let's hear from the co-authors.
Let's hear from the co-authors.
Let's let them cry. Put them in a hot seat.
So the first person to sign on to this project was Dr. Shiva Quinn. Dr. Shiva, you are up, honey. First, we want to hear, how did you know that this was for you? And then tell us just a teeny tiny little bit about what we can expect from your chapter.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Dr. Shiva Quinn, and I don't know how I knew this was for me. I just remember, Marquita saying, hey, I need you on this project, and I said, okay, how much does it cost? Where do I sign on? And she was like, well, hold on, let me see the paperwork first. So I had already, set the money aside before I knew what he was writing about. I didn't know what I was writing about. I knew that if Dr. Blades was in behind it, I knew it was a process or a program that I could trust, because I trust her. I've never really, I think that the story was in me, and I had been trying to tell it. During the time of writing this book, I was going through just a lot of trying to get through this, lupus and PTSD, and having the conversation with people that just, your family and friends, they gonna listen to you, right? They gonna listen to whatever you got to say, and they're gonna be like, all right, girl, well, let me get off this phone. I'm finna go ahead and see about this. So I gotta go cook dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they listen, but they don't get it. And at the time, I was just in so much pain, going back and forth to the doctors, being on and off steroids, and it was just a lot. And so, like I said, when she said, hey, I need you on this project, I was like, okay, let's do it. And it allowed me to just tell how I was feeling, like all those feelings of neglect through the process, all those feelings of pain, being in physical pain. It's something like when you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, well, you need to lose some weight. And you like, chick, it hurt too damn bad to walk. I can't be losing no weight right now. You do it. You know what I mean? So so I was going through all that, and just to have that outlet. And I'm going to tell you, I wrote my chapter in one day. Like, I knew it was time to write, but I kept putting it off because I was going to out some people about how they did or did not support.
Oh, it was a tell-all.
Yes.
It was tough. I knew that this book would probably come back to haunt me, right? I know that after a few people read it, they be like, oh, so you put it all out there like that? But it's true. That is what I was going through, and I needed an opportunity to tell my story. And I think the opportunity just came along at the right time. And so, it's in the book. It's out there.
So you mentioned, Dr. Shiva, lupus and PTSD.
And anxiety and depression and fibromyalgia. But the PTSD and lupus carries the bulk of my pain.
Wow.
So, Dr. Shiva, the reason why I invited you on the project is because I've been following you for a while. And through your homeschool journey, and just watching how you run your business and manage your children's businesses, and how you teach other people how to do the same thing. So once I realized, what really made me really perk up too, one time you made a post about how many black teachers did you have, and then when you started naming your teachers, I was like, oh my God, her teachers are my colleagues. Like, I work with them. And those are her teachers. I said, I'm old as I don't know what. But then I said, I need to pay attention to my colleagues, former students, because she's out here doing something. Yeah. So I really started honing in, paying attention. And when I found out that you had lupus, I was just in awe because I couldn't understand, how does she do this every day?
Yeah.
You're live every day. You're working with your clients. You're working with your kids. And I know what the lupus is like on the other side. So you've just been a superhero to me. I just could not understand it. I said, you know what? If there's anybody who can tell this story, it's Dr. Shiva. So let me see if she's willing to jump on board with me. And I was scared to ask, but I did it anyway.
Girl, what you was scared of?
And she said yes.
I don't like when people tell me no.
Girl, no. I would have not said no. And of course, I didn't say no. But yeah, like I said, it was, people have asked me several times to write your story. And of course, there is so much more I can tell.
Oh, my
right?
goodness, yes.
Yeah.
But at that time, I think I just needed an outlet. And I needed this outlet so bad that I was going back and forth seeing this one counselor, you know, for some of the issues that I have. And I looked up, and after I started writing, I looked up and realized I ain't been to see this doctor in a minute. Like, hold up, I need to go check in, because the writing was just that therapeutic for me. It allowed me to relieve some of that tension and stress that I had built up in me. And I write all the time. I write all the time. It's just that I had not written in the manner that I was actually telling my story to other people as it relates to these illnesses.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and that's my jazz right there. Writing is so therapeutic, and a lot of people just like, you know, look at me crazy when I say that, but it really is therapeutic. But most people get so intimidated by the word right, because they feel like it has to be right. It has to have proper grammar and all that stuff. But healing. Yeah,
Jamie, I know you removed a couple of my cuss words out.
Yeah, I did. And then I had to put a couple
I didn't say that.
No. Listen, if I had to put asterisks in all of your stuff, like the whole book would just be like
symbols, right?
It would be like symbols, the whole chapter.
Like, that ain't what I was feeling. I want the real word.
She dropped some F-bombs, some B-bombs, some B-bombs, like all kinds of bombs in the book. I was like, yeah, I do want you to be authentic. We're gonna censor just a little bit.
Just a tad,
Just
right?
a tad. Just so people can read and understand what they saying. Because like every other word would be like a bleep, hey, bleep, but bleep. You know, like so. Anyway, thank you, love.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Okay, so y'all, the next co-author that I personally invited is my soror, Gretchen. And she's another one who I've followed, and I've been following her for a very long time on Facebook. And I really admired her transparency and her journey of just sharing everything that she has gone through, from how to be successful in multi-level marketing to her personal struggles with her illnesses, sharing things about her kids. Just her level of transparency is like nothing I've ever seen from a person before. So when I decided to do this, I also had to get my nerve up. I knew that I needed her on this project and I wanted her on the project. But again, I don't like to be told no. So it took me a couple of days to just really work up the nerve to, I think I sent her an inbox message and said, I need to talk to you about this. So I don't know what I did. And we got on the phone and we talked about it. Or maybe I sent her the message and asked her, and then she said, I have some questions or whatever. But we got on the phone, we talked about it. She came on board, and I was so excited. So, Gretchen. Hey, girl. Hey, soror. And that's another thing, too, y'all. It's amazing when you have your soror on the journey with you. So, Gretchen, let the people know how you knew it was time to join this project, and then tell them a little bit about what they can expect from your chapter as well.
Well, the interesting thing is that I wasn't sure if the timing was right, because when I was asked, I was late in pregnancy and was already having complications. So it was really a prayer. It was a prayer thing. And I was afraid, but I was like, if I'm going to be this writer that I've always dreamed to be, do it now and then figure out the rest. that's pretty much what made it happen, because I actually have a major in nonfiction writing. Flunked out twice because I keep getting pregnant, but that part is over with now. So now I am free to finally not just tell my story, but just free some folk. That's my goal, is just to free some people from a lot of hurt and a lot of stigma, and do it the way God has called me to do it.
Now, working with Gretchen has been so interesting and so fun. And we don't really talk during the daytime. We talk like at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Like, yeah, like she I'm gonna have to call you when the baby's asleep. But Gretchen was raising small children. She's still raising small children. But I didn't know that you were pregnant when we first started, Gretchen. I didn't know that.
I knew she was, and I was so out of order, but I said, look, I need her.
It was so
Yes.
And she kept saying her baby was 3 months old and we were already 6 months into. I'm like, it didn't even dawn on me. Like none of that dawned on me. But Gretchen was one. She was like, listen, because she had a flare up, and she was like, listen, I can't type, I can't do nothing. You just gonna have to do this without me. I was like, listen, chick, can you talk? She was like, yeah. I said, can you press record? She was like, yeah. I said, well, record your story to me.
Yes.
I said, hit record, talk like you talking to me, and send that joint to me. And she was like, okay. She sent me like 3 or 4 recorders or something like that. So it was like, really, this was a press through journey. Like every single author had to go through some type of journey to produce their story. Like,
and I think when this was going on, had my brother already passed at the time? Because I didn't even know she was trying to quit.
It was around that time.
You didn't even tell me that she'd have tried to drop out.
I kept a whole lot of stuff because, it was like, that's my job as the publisher, to work with the co-authors. And that's what I was doing. But I knew that because Gretchen and I talked before she started writing the chapter, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I said to her, I was like, listen, I need to get on the phone with you because we can't put all of this in one chapter. You only have 2,500 words. But she gave me so much, and I told her, I was like, this is going to be more than, we can only just focus on this right here. Because she had so much to share. And that's when I asked you, what is your story? And I always start the conversation off like that, because most people think they don't have a story. They don't think like you didn't think that your brother passing or you being in the hospital as long as you were was a story. But it is, because you were still trying to check on the book from the hospital bed. And I kept saying to you, girl, if you don't leave me alone, if you don't go somewhere and sit down and take care of yourself. But this journey, I mean, yeah. So I'm glad you stuck it out, Gretchen.
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't give up on us.
Thank you. Just to kind of give you a little bit of what was going on. Not a lot, but a little bit was, I had my son early, prematurely. I didn't have any family here. My husband and I have been separated for almost a year, but we brought him back. I brought him back in for support. And then I had my own health complications. My son had health complications after being born. My oldest daughter was going through some things. So it was a big dynamic of things going on at that time. And so when it came to writing, I honestly was like, okay, well, where do I even fit this in? When you have multiple diagnoses, when you're dually diagnosed, let's start there with a mental illness and a physical chronic illness, and all that comes along with that, and being in recovery from alcoholism, there's levels. So when you talk about chronic illness, which one is more important than the other? And then it was more or less like an onion, and basically Jamie kind of told me how to peel off the layers, but kind of leave more, because I do plan on writing more books. Because what we started here is the beginning of a healing aid, as I call it. Yeah. But there's more layers that need to be worked on to be healed. And I know that other people who are in my same boat, but on other levels, could benefit. So this was just a taste of what is to come from me.
Yes.
Just a taste.
And we do, we want to take a small commercial break to say that we do have a special announcement that we're going to say. So you're going to have to stick around to the end to hear that special announcement. My twerk.
I don't know what kind of upper body twerk she has going on.
This is the only twerk I have.
It's my chronic illness twerk. You can barely move.
Not too heavy.
All right. Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you, Gretchen.
So my next co-author, I think I recruited her out of a group on Facebook. It was one of those days where the group said, post your stuff, whatever you're working on, free post Wednesday or whatever it was. And so I said, okay, I'm going to promote my book. And I put the flyer in there, and she inboxed me and said, I'm interested. And so I sent her the information, and then she had questions. And when people have questions, y'all, I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope she really wants to do it. I hope I answer the questions in such a way that she comes on board. And so she did. But again, and y'all are going to hear this as a recurring theme as we introduce each co-author. When I heard her story, I knew I had a reason to write my story. Yeah. And when you're in it yourself, you tend to think that what you're living is the worst situation that anybody could possibly live. And then you talk to someone else, and their situation mirrors yours, but you see them achieving at a certain level, and you're like, okay, I really need to not think that my situation is as bad as it is, because here's somebody else playing this same hand, and they're winning with it. Yeah. And so, again, I was just so greatly inspired by her story. I was so honored that she chose to come on board, especially with me being not even someone that she was already connected with on Facebook, but just somebody that recruited out of a group. And so she trusted enough, she saw the vision enough, she came on board, and we have just been blown away. How many times have we talked about Sarah's story, like how powerful it is?
Oh my goodness.
So many times. Yes, Sarah, we talk about you, but in a good way.
Yeah.
We just can't believe how amazing you are. So Sarah Beth Wright.
Yes.
We want to hear from you.
Well, thank you. I can say that when I saw your post that day, I've gone into wanting to share my story, but from a different route. My husband and I have had some issues that we wanted to speak about. And so when I've gone into writing and speaking, it had absolutely nothing to do with my own health and situation. So I feel like God put you there as an opening for my own healing in this situation. And when I saw that, I was like, that's interesting. And then I just let it pass by. And then a couple of days later, I scrolled by, and there it was again. And so that's when I contacted you. And this has been a huge healing point for me, because I was diagnosed with a brain tumor when I was 14. And it's just been part of my life. So I have just lived with the what it's caused, and not actually faced it and allowed myself to walk through it and be healed from emotionally from what is there with me daily.
Wow. Yeah, like Sarah's story is so touching to me, because she, like, just about everyone started like really, really young, but to have so many brain surgeries as a young girl growing up, not getting a chance to really, go to the senior prom like, most girls do, like the normal thing of life. Like her normal looked completely different from the other girls in high school who complain about the boys are looking at a different girl, or, you know, what they're wearing today. And she has to deal with the fact that, what am I going to wear? Like, I can't remember, you know, what you just said 2 minutes ago, but you're looking at me crazy. Like, having to deal with that and having to be supported by her family and her younger sister. I'm telling your story, huh? Y'all gotta read the book.
They gotta read the book.
Y'all gotta read the book. Like, like your story makes me cry, and not in a sad cry, but just like, you're so strong, and the way that you talk about it. I never knew that you were shy, or that you never really talked about it like this. Like, I never knew that. And then I read your blog too. I'm like, this chick is bad. Like, this chick is bad, and she's like this, you know, hide behind, like she's this quiet storm. Like, you don't see her coming, but she's coming, and the things that she says is really going to change things up in her life, because it makes you really think. Like, my stuff that I'm dealing with, like, chick, you need to calm down a little bit, because at least I don't have as many struggles and challenges that you have on a daily basis, but you've learned to cope with it in such a way that you teach people around you how to cope with it as well. That's what I love. Well, and like, a lot of people don't know how to treat anyone who has any type of illness.
What I really was blown away by was the fact that
whose basket is that?
Yeah. Oh, is the fact that Sarah's a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, y'all.
We see something on the screen.
I was blown away by everything that you said, and
so
then
Latrina,
the fact that Sarah.
Hold on just a second. Latrina, put your mute on, sweetie.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
okay.
I think. Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all know this ain't edited. This is live.
This is live. Live TV on Status Network, the future of broadcasting. Dr. Blade slipped in a little bit.
Right.
But Sarah's a teacher.
Yes.
So how do you still find it in you to give to little kids like that, considering what you deal with on a daily basis?
I've actually stepped out of the classroom just this past year, and I think part of that has been the realization that I'm just gone at the end of the day when I come home, and so I'm able to work at home, and I've be able to focus on my writing and my blog and moving forward from there. But it's hard. It really is hard when you've had 2 brain surgeries. And the thing about this is it's hard for me right now to just talk about it to you, because I haven't talked about it my entire life. Yeah. So I feel like it's something that I haven't shared with other people. So anyway, moving on.
But Sarah, you're doing so great with it, though. Can I just say that? You're doing really great with it.
And you can share as much or as little as you feel comfortable in this moment.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Because I already told them anyway, Sarah. I've been bragging on you anyway.
It's just, it's exhausting, and people don't understand. There's physical exhaustion, but there's also mental exhaustion. And when you'll find out my husband has a head injury that happened later on in life. And when that happened, I realized that a lot of my, the events that I deal with daily were due to my 2 surgeries. Like, I didn't realize that it's a TBI symptoms that I have. Like, I'm just mentally exhausted. So my words can get mixed up, or I don't remember what word I'm going to say. And so people don't understand that and think, that it's just a blow off is how I feel. And of course that could be my own feelings, but to go back to your question, is that carrying on the teaching and then coming home, it's truly exhausting.
Yeah. And then you said something that I thought was powerful too. You said that your husband has a TBI. So now you have a family of parents who are challenged with a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, for those who don't the medical term. And you have 3 boys?
We do.
3 boys, 3 small boys. But but they're a family together, and they have a family, a system, a support system. And you just have to read her story to see how she's able to manage as a wife, as a mother, as a then teacher, as now an entrepreneur, as now a writer, as now, and the world is hers. Like, she now understands and knows through working with this project, I believe, Sarah, and you can correct me, that the world is your oyster. Like, there's no limitations to what you can do just because of this diagnosis, but you've learned to live beyond the diagnosis.
Right. I totally agree.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like this project was just definitely sent from God, that he put it there, because it's allowed me to see further into my heart that I haven't seen before.
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's great. See, that's why. Yes. Every time you say something that's so powerful, I don't think you realize. And she used to, I'm going to tell your business now. She came to me once, and she said something like, it was like a low self-esteem comment. Like, I don't think I'm good enough, or something to that effect, right? It was something like that, where she was doubting her own worth. Mm-hmm. And I sent something to her in Messenger, and I say, take a picture of this. And every time you feel like you're not good enough, I want you to read that picture. I want you to read that post every single time, because there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. You're so powerful. You're so amazing. And I want you to read it every single time. And then so one time, like a couple of months or a couple of weeks after that conversation, that exchange we had, she said something to me again in Messenger, and I didn't respond. I just sent like an emoji with a side-eye emoji. And then she responded. She's like, I'm looking at my post now. I'm looking at it now. I'm okay. I'm okay. But that's what I love about this project. Like, this anthology for the women, the co-authors, the way that we kind of work together. Like, it was really a team that became close and became family, and because we're all up in each other's business now.
We are, and
we know each other's weaknesses now
that have been made amongst the co-authors. Yeah. So there are co-authors who have developed relationships that I don't have with them, but they with each other they have.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that everybody has been able to look within this group.
Yeah.
And get something out of it other than just becoming the published author and just telling their story. But we all have grown from each other, and even really, though we're the ones seeking to give encouragement through writing this book, we have drawn a lot of encouragement from each other,
and resources too,
and resources,
and pulled on each other's resources. So that's really great.
I know that LaTrenda and Dr. Shiva have connected on the homeschool front. I want to say. Didn't both of y'all get interviewed by NBC or something? Didn't they?
Something like that.
Some big-time network.
Some big-time network or something like that.
Yes. Yes. So, LaTrenda, I don't know where I recruited you from. Girl, where did I get you from? How did I get you? But we weren't previously connected on Facebook either, I don't think.
Right. I think it was through Dr. Quinn.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell everybody what brought you onto the project, and then a little bit of what they can expect from your chapter.
Well, what my audience will expect from the chapter that I've written is just engulfing them into my world of how I coped with the diagnosis and being a mom of young children, and just bringing them balance and just being mentally healthy and stable, dealing with the cards that was dealt to me. It'll talk about how my husband, the caregiver, had to deal with things on his side, wearing many hats and trying to be, balance just being a father and a husband. And so it's my portion is heartfelt, yet it's encouraging for those who are going through it or know someone very close that is encountering cancer.
Wow. The caregiver side of it, I didn't really discuss a whole lot in my chapter, but I know in yours and also in your author interview, your husband just talked so much about how he had to really relearn himself in order to to help you deal with your cancer and everything. So do you have any advice, Latrenda, for the other caregivers out there, or do you feel like your husband would have any advice for the caregivers who are listening right now that could help them just better support their loved one?
My advice would be to delete anybody or anything that will suck up negative or put out negative energy. Surround yourself with positive mind frame of people that are encouraging, that has nothing but positive things to say. I know what helped my entire family was I posted scriptures of everything that brought life to me, what encouraged me, just healing words. I attached it to my steering wheel, my refrigerator, my lamp when I woke up in the morning, my mirror when I looked into it in the morning. I just surrounded myself with postcards or Post-its of encouraging and healing words. And that is the advice that I would give anybody going through, not just cancer, but anything that is requiring not just healing, but wholeness.
Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. Girl, she said delete them.
Yeah.
Like delete, gone, bye.
That is funny. Jamie, you want to
do I want to?
Do you want to just go ahead and fill in with our other co-authors?
Yes.
Y'all, I'm tired.
So the next one
Y'all, I'm
is...
so tired.
Lord, I'm tired. So our next co-author, who we going? Oh, we're going to go to VC, Miss
V
VC.
to the C.
Now it took me a minute to learn how to pronounce VC's name.
You could not say her name.
I could not say her name because it spelled like Vice, and it kept tricking my brain. My brain kept wanting to say Vice. But it's just like, no, it's VC. I was like, oh, that's so pretty. it sounds so prettier than Vice. But hey, no offense to any of the Vices out there, but VC was really nice. So VC, welcome to the show. Welcome to the group. Hi. Now, VC, what made you say, yeah, I want to write about this? Because VC came, I remember seeing your posts on Instagram. I don't know if that's how she came to the project, through Instagram.
She came through you, right?
I believe so. Like, she saw a post on Instagram, but then
that had to be your post, because y'all know I do not be on Instagram.
But VC is like the Instagram queen, first of all. And I remember seeing her post on it. I was like, wait a minute, she already has a media group. She has all these things going on. Why she want to be a part of this project?
Wait a minute now.
No, I mean, like, we were small time then, but we never won that.
We never won that.
We big time now. Tyler Perry called me. Okay, so anyway, VC, what made you decide that you wanted to tell about chronically ill, about your illnesses?
Well, when I was scrolling through Instagram, a friend of mine tagged me in the Mediocre Teacher project that Jamie had posted on Instagram. And so initially I was going to say I was interested in that one. But then I saw the Chronically Ill one, and I said, no, I need to do that one instead. Because I always kind of talk about being a teacher. I teach middle schoolers, we need prayer, the end. So,
the end.
Right. But my chronic illness was something that I don't really say much about to a lot of people. And I said, some people need to understand what I go through and what I'm dealing with. Even when, like Jamie said, we look like we're okay. We look like everything's all good, but what's going on within us is eating at us. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't understand that. I get up and I go to work. I come home and I'm drained.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm in so much pain that there are times I have to miss work, and I miss like a week
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't miss that. You know, you need to go to work. You know, if you do so and so, I might be out of work, but then I still got to get up. I got to go eat.
Right.
I got to go clean up. I need to do something.
Right.
And people are like, well, you can't. You know, you need to go on to work. You can't be missing that many days. And oh my goodness, what's wrong with you now? That kind of stuff. And so I figured telling this story would help them to understand that it's not a what's wrong with you now. It's wrong with me all the time.
Wow.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Like, this is my everyday thing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, you know, and I think that's the point of his book too, Dr. Blades. Let me just call you Kwee. But I think the whole point of this is so people can really see that we're normal people. So
Right.
Even though we have these challenges and these struggles that we go through on a daily basis, we're still normal. We still have feelings, you know, and it still hurt our feelings when you say dumb stuff. And you may not
exactly dumb stuff.
Dumb stuff.
Yeah, like what's wrong with you now?
I didn't just trip and hit my foot.
Right. You know, yeah. So you know, like what's wrong with you now? Like we forgot all about the what's wrong with you, but it's that now thing.
Exactly.
That now word that really drives a knife dead in. You know.
Didn't you take a nap this morning? Don't you feel? You should feel better. You took a nap this morning.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Or what about your
Where's
faith?
your faith?
Where's your faith? Now we haven't even talked about
We have not
the church.
even scratched the surface of that, VC. Oh my goodness.
But let me
Because
tell you,
along with the chronic illness came the anxiety and the panic attacks and those types of things. And so that's when your mental state comes, your mental health comes into question.
Yeah.
And then it's a faith that has nothing to do with that realm of me.
Yeah. And so it is connected. The physical and the spirit, the mind, body, and soul, they're all connected. And so those mental things, those mental health concerns happen. I don't like saying mental illness. I like calling it mental health. Mental health things that happen, it's part of the physical because they're all a part of us. It's our makeup. And everyone has them, but some people like to deny it. And we haven't even talked about the church thing, but there was this one one person that she'll be nameless. Let's call her Sam. Sam. So I was in a conversation with Sam, and she was one of those heavy, believers in God. And she kept saying to me, something's wrong with me, and I can't figure out what it is, and the doctors can't figure out what it is. But what she say? She said something like, I'm going to pray it away, or what is it that it's exactly what you said in your chapter.
I ain't claiming that.
I'm not claiming it.
I'm not
going to
claim
she said
it.
to
That's,
me.
Yes.
She said, I'm not claiming that. And I was like, okay. So she's walking around with all of these illnesses, but she's a believer in God. And I love believers. I'm a believer in God too. I think that what happened in the church is that we've given them a false sense of hope to think that your faith is, because you do have faith, you don't have problems. You don't have mental health concerns. You don't have physical ailments. But if you read your Bible, people, everybody in the Bible has some problems in the Bible. It was a multitude of people that were sick and was seeking healing. So just because someone is sick and they're expressing physical symptoms, please don't tell them to don't claim it, honey. Please tell them go get seen. Go see a healer. Go see a doctor.
I would take it a step further and say that it's an even bigger exercise of faith to say I have lupus and to still pursue a career and to still pursue a marriage and to still pursue family. That requires a whole lot of faith.
But you know what? If you allow me to add, even Paul had a thorn in his flesh. And it was never removed, but God said, "My grace is sufficient."
Yeah.
God gave us 5 senses.
Yeah.
And He has put doctors in place.
Yeah.
Dr. Shiva and I were talking about that at the Liberated Minds Expo last month. God put doctors in place and medicines in place, and He give you 5 senses to take it.
Yeah.
So you just combine that with some faith, and I think you can get your healing.
Yeah.
And it's all just some common sense with that as well.
Yeah, and it's really understanding what faith is, not thinking that, something has to be wrong or anything like that. It's just a false, like, we just really need to do better with taking care of ourselves and being really honest about where we are. Like, if I'm not having a good day, I'm not going to try to call my mama. I'm not going to try to call people because I'm not in a really good space. Let me get in a good space before I let people in my space. And that's smart. That is faith. That is doing the right thing, because what ain't right is me trying to force myself to be something and put myself in a place where I know I'm not in a good frame of mind or even physically able to do that. So really being in tune, I think that's another thing that this lovely book talks about, is really being self-aware of, what your triggers are. Like you, Dr. Blaze, like, that you can't be in a space that's too cold.
Right.
You've learned that from doing it, right?
Yes.
And I love, like, your interview with your husband. You were talking about, you guys going. Go ahead and tell them about the grocery store.
Oh, how we grocery
that is
shop.
so great.
Yes. So we had to get a system down for grocery shopping. I mean, at one point, I didn't even grocery shop, period.
Wow.
For the time that my mom was living with me and was my caregiver, she was the sole grocery shopper, and she did that. And then when I got married, sometimes our schedules, it just wasn't feasible for my husband to, well, he would go sometimes, and sometimes I would go. But then he would see that if I went to the grocery store, I was done for the rest of the day.
Wow.
So I couldn't stop by the grocery store on the way home from work. That meant no work was getting done that evening. Wow. I could get up and go to the grocery store first thing in the morning, and that means nothing was going to get done around the house all day. So once he realized that, we had to do several things to accommodate. One of those was getting a food subscription at one point.
Yeah.
But we want our groceries again. We want stuff. So we have a system. We have our list. We split it up. He takes the cold side of the store, and I take the not so cold side. Because to me, the whole store is cold.
The whole store can be cold, but it's colder in the produce section.
And so I wear, if y'all know me, you know I do not wear sneakers or tennis shoes unless I am working out. And everybody know I ain't worked out in years, okay? Like Dr. Shiva said, it just hurts so bad.
Yeah.
Unless it's my water aerobics, y'all. But, so I only wear sneakers for working out. But when I go to the grocery store, I put on my thick socks, I put on my sneakers, and I always bring a jacket. And I don't care what the temperature is outside.
Right.
And I go ahead and put my jacket on before we go in the grocery store. So people are already looking at me like I'm crazy, right?
It's hot Atlanta.
It's 90,000 degrees outside, and this girl got on a jean jacket. What is she doing? But it's because once I hit those doors, from the second that cool air hits me, it only takes a couple of minutes for my muscles to start to lock up. So I do produce. And I do the aisles closer to the produce side. My husband does the other side with all the frozen and all of that stuff. And it's not even just the temperature, but it's how long it takes me to, by the time I get through the end of produce, he is already encroaching on my side of the store that I'm supposed to be shopping, because I really can't even move that fast anymore.
Oh.
Even with a list sometimes, and Sarah talked about not being able to sometimes get your thoughts or your words together. Sometimes I'll have the list right in front of me, and I still struggle with, what did I just pick up? What did I just put in the basket? And I have to go through the basket 4 or 5 times and be like, oh, okay, I do have the tomatoes. But then when I turn around and come back, I'm like, wait a minute, did I get the tomatoes? It can be so confusing and so mentally taxing that, yes, we have to do that together. Yeah.
And I know that for me sometimes, and I don't even have a traumatic brain injury, but I'm upstairs and I know I need something downstairs. But by the time I get downstairs, I forgot what I came downstairs for. So I end up doing something completely different. Go back upstairs and like, golly, I forgot to get that thing. So it's like, it's not even that type of thing though.
Yeah.
So even what I just explained to you, that's not even that type of thing. What, you know, people who have those type of illnesses, those type of brain fogs is what the medical term is. It's not even compared to that. So you can't say, oh, I do that all the time. No, boo. But you can snap yourself and remember it, and you can force yourself, you can call that memory back to your forefront, where it's not that easy for some people. So we're going, I think we're like going over time, right?
We might be going over time, but we got to talk to Dr. Tori.
We got one more?
Dr. Tori.
Dr. Tori.
I met Dr. Tori at the Be Unstoppable conference here in Atlanta. Yes. I think it was September of last year. She was with her BFF, who is my soror. Hey, soror, I don't know if she's watching or not, but anyway, I met them. We immediately connected. I think we was like, hey, sis, how you doing, within 5 minutes. And we went on about our business. And so when it was time to launch the project, I believe Dr. Tori reached out and said she was interested. And then I think it took us a minute, though, to kind of get together on it, Dr. Tori. I don't know. I can't really remember all the details.
No, we was at the conference, and you spoke, and we was like, girl, we tired.
We were so tired. We went up to your room.
And we went up to my room, and we was like, girl, we tired. You was like, girl, I got loops. I was like, girl, I got fibromyalgia. And that's how we started talking.
That's right.
Yes.
We were tired, child. That's all. Yes.
We was tired. Yes, ma'am. And so that's how we started talking. And when you told me about the book, and I told you my story. You asked me, girl, when you gonna do that book? And then when I saw you were doing this, I said, this will be the challenge. If I can get a chapter done, I know I can go ahead and do the book. So,
yep.
Very good, Doc. So tell everybody what your diagnosis is.
Well, my diagnosis is, well, first I had a baby, and that's how I came to my diagnosis. It triggered fibromyalgia and depression and anxiety. And just like Jamie said, they go hand in hand, you know, the fibromyalgia and the depression. Actually, my postpartum depression came with the pregnancy, and there's a small percentage of women who have postpartum and it just doesn't go away. It's the doctor said the hormonal imbalance, it never balanced back out. And that's where the depression came in from. So, and then as years went by, 8 years later, I had another baby, and my doctor says, are you kidding me? Actually, he used another word, and don't expect your doctor to use that word, but and he said, your first pregnancy triggered all of this, but no, God won't do that, and God did do that. So, and so that caused another ripple effect, and so that made it a lot worse. And then later on, a few years later, I was diagnosed with primary biliary cirrhosis, which is a liver disease as well.
So you have a nerve pain illness or condition, and then you have, on top of that, you have a liver disease condition. And then on top of that, you have the mental health conditions.
Correct. And I've always suffered from chronic migraines since a child. As a child, chronic in my family, we call it the family curse. All the women, most of my mom, me, and then my daughters are starting to come down with it as well. So on top of that, yes.
Yeah. But all of this started when you gave birth. So not only were you going through these things, just by themselves, but you were also caring for a small infant at that same time. So you guys, I don't know if you guys know the story of her, the title of her chapter. When I saw the title by itself, I was like, oh yes, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Like, this was great. This is my favorite title right here. This is great.
Are you going to tell them?
I can't.
You ain't going to tell them? But you can say some of it.
It's
Blessings
boo-boo.
Covered in sugar honey iced tea.
And my mom is a holy roller, and she says, she's a holy roller, so she's like, blessings and a cuss word. Oh my God. and I am the cussing Christian. We all got something to answer for when we go, but yes, I'm the cussing Christian. So I'm like, well, Mom, it's the truth. It's the truth. God sends us many blessings in many different packages, and mine came. My 2 blessings came that way. Yeah. And I am just glad that I was able to recognize that even though they came that way, that they were still blessings from God. Because a lot of times we don't recognize that. We take it for granted. We think that we're being punished. We say, why me? And all of that, and we miss out on the blessing. But I'm glad I was still able to recognize that even though they came and they ravished my body. And I say sometimes, I say all the time, oh, you guys are so selfish. Just selfish. But they were my angels, and they were my reason to hold on and fight and stay here. I'm still here today because of them.
Yeah.
So.
Why that title, though, Tori? Why say it like that?
Because they literally did. I mean, because it was, like I said, one came, and I was fine. I was, before having my daughter, like I said, some women are made for this. They have a baby and they in the gym the next day.
Right.
I had a baby. I came out.
Doing live stream from the
I had a baby. I came out. I was in the ICU.
Yeah.
It was not like, I watched Baby Story. It was not like that.
Mine wasn't like that either.
I was like,
they lied.
I was not made for this.
Yeah.
I realized that, but I was perfectly healthy. I wasn't perfectly healthy, but I was pretty healthy. Yeah. And when I had them, it just literally ravished me. And after I had like I said, I told my doctor I was pregnant the second time, he was like, you got to be, and he said the SHIT. And I literally thought that I was going to have to deliver her myself because no doctor wanted to touch me in my Tri-County area because I was so high risk. And it was crazy. And so after I had her, they literally was like, no, you cannot do this anymore. And so they moved some of the equipment out. They shut down the factory, and it was like, no, this is not for you. This is no. And it literally just changed my life. And like I said, I could have resented them. I could have resented, the process. I could have resented the whole thing. But instead of that, I turned that around and looked at them as my angels and my reason to stay here and hold on. And that's why I said I know that they were a blessing, because like I said, every day that I wanted to give up, every day that I wanted to say, why am I doing this? What is that? It was those eyes looking at me was my reason to continue to get up.
Wow, Dr. Tori. And your daughter who did the author's interview with you, I was so impressed with her because her understanding of what you go through, most adults can't understand it on that level. And to see that she really gets it and she knows her role and how she can help you cope on a day-to-day basis, I was just so impressed with that.
I was too. And she's so sweet and humble
on
camera. Now, I don't know how she is. She's different with mommy, but she's so sweet and humble.
Girl, they a mess, but she's a military brat, and we were military, so a lot of times.
Oh, we lost your audio.
A lot of times we were together by ourselves. My ex-husband was in the Navy. He would be gone 6 months out the year. So sometimes we'll move to a new location on Sunday. He would ship out on Tuesday. I'm like, I don't know where the store is. I don't know where the gas station is. It would just be us. I used to feel bad because I did most of my parenting from the bed, and I had to learn to be okay with that because I realized that I was a better parent than some parents that was walking around.
Right.
Yes.
And that she turned out pretty okay. Plug it in. I was like, I'm good. I was like, she turned out good. She's an honor student, graduate, she's an honor student. And I was like, I did pretty good, and especially that I specialize in at-risk teens. I see some of the parents and they are capable, physically capable.
Girl, listen.
Something out. But I used to feel bad about it. But I think I did pretty good, and you know, she was there with me every step of the way.
That's great. Well, it has been a long show, longer than we intended. A long party, not even a show,
it's a long party. Yeah, we about to get kicked out of the studio.
Should we make the announcement? Well, first, thank you, co-authors, for showing up today, for celebrating. Thank you. Please, y'all know me. You know what I'm about to say. Y'all better do something for yourself. You better do something, one thing I will be checking to celebrate this moment. Celebrate yourself in this moment for making it through to this point. And then now you can add that title onto your resume. #1 bestseller, which we are still holding down that title right now. Very strong. Now. That don't mean stop selling the book. Y'all can keep selling the book.
Keep selling, because I want to hold that spot.
Keep selling the book. But yeah, thank you, and do something to celebrate yourselves. But now is it time for the announcement?
Now it's time for the announcement. Twerk. So,
oh my goodness.
In launching this book,
I gotta get my.
Oh, really? Okay. In launching the book, I have already had people reaching out to me saying, when you do volume 2, let me know. And I don't know how these people knew that volume 2 was on the way, but that's not the announcement.
I didn't think that was the announcement.
Oh, Lord. What's the announcement, girl? What? That's your announcement. That's my announcement. Okay, so this is what I know can never happen again. Jamie can't be in the studio with me. I have no professionalism right now when I'm next to her. It's all Quita. All Quita, Quee. Y'all, so volume 2 is now in recruitment. We're in the recruitment stage of volume 2. Yes, Jamie, no? Y'all, she looking at me like I'm not supposed to be saying this. If you are interested in writing your story, your chronicle of your chronically ill journey, reach out to me. I'm not allowed to say that I'm recruiting, so I'm just going to say inbox me. And we'll talk about it. There will be a volume 2, and I do need people who are ready to pick up the torch and carry it. Y'all heard my other co-authors, honey. They already writing their own book. They moving on from me.
Yeah.
And I love it. So if you're ready to tell your story, just reach out. Jamie, I'm sorry, Jamie. I thought we were clear that that was my announcement. Jamie has an announcement.
Well, yeah, I didn't think, okay.
And I didn't get to tell my story, but that's okay.
Oh.
I know.
I told it for you.
You did tell it for me.
And yeah, go ahead. Tell you a little bit. Oh, you want to read a bit of your chapter? No, we don't have time. But you got to wait on the next time. Okay. You got to get your own. So, all right. So that's really interesting, volume 2.
It's interesting. Like, she's never heard this before.
Yeah, you did say volume 2, but I didn't, you know.
It didn't register.
It just kind of like passed through me, just like I told her she was a bestseller, #2, and it just kind of like went over your head. That completely went over my head. But let's gear up for volume 2. All right, yeah. What are we gonna call volume 2? I don't know. We got to come up with something really quick.
Know.
So my announcement is, because part of what, you know, going through this process with all the women, I really saw the strength, the inner strength of all these women. So I decided that J Publishing would feature these women as superheroes, as cartoon, what they call it? Cartoon heroes or something like that. I don't know. They're all going to be in capes. They're going to be, I have a children's illustrator who's going to illustrate each of them as a cartoon character using their photo. So it's going to be their face and their capes and everything is like that. And so Chronicles of the Chronically Ill Volume 1 will be a comic book, y'all! Because I really want these women to just, you know, really bask, if that's a word. I probably made that up. That's
bask is a word.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I like making up words, so I thought that was one I made up, but okay. I really want them to bask in their own superpowers. And, you know, Gretchen was the one who really said this to me a while back. And she was like, girl, you got superpowers or something like that. I got superpowers. So she's like, right. We all have superpowers. And so because we have this diagnosis, doesn't mean that we're less than or anything. It just means that we have to fight through something a whole lot harder to just do normal things. And so that, in my book, characterizes a superhero. So I wanted to, you know, I wanted to keep this moment in my memory and really do a comic book in honor of the co-authors of this collaboration.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And yeah, that went over my head as well. I will blame it on the brain fog, if you will.
So stay tuned for the comic book.
And stay tuned for volume 2 that Jamie swears she's never heard about. Y'all, thank you for joining us today. This was fun, celebrating our bestseller status.
Congratulations.
Yes. If you pre-ordered the book, if you pre-ordered an autographed copy from me, I will be dropping those at the post office first thing in the morning. I don't know when my co-authors are dropping theirs at the post office. I don't want to speak for them, but I think soon. Gretchen doing hers in the morning. Gretchen?
Soon.
I don't know. Soon.
They doing it soon.
Soon.
Yeah, they all nodding yes. Soon.
Let me tell y'all something now. I have been dealing with swollen wrists for the last 2 weeks. So autographing all of these books and writing thank you notes,
that's a lot.
Has been a challenge. I know I could just print out the thank you note, but the OCD in me
and the teacher
will not, and the teacher in me just will not let me do that. So I will finish signing mine, dropping them in the mail in the morning. If you have not ordered any form of the book yet, shame on you.
What are you waiting on?
Order your copy. What are you waiting on?
I don't understand. Like, don't you know we number 1 now?
Number 1. Yes.
There's like no music behind us. Like, it makes me want to sing, but then y'all.
Can
really
you
don't.
sing?
No.
Oh, so don't do that. So y'all, thank you to everyone who tuned in, who celebrated this moment with us. We had a great time giving you a glimpse into the book. You're going to order it. You're going to keep us at number 1.
You're going to write great reviews.
Great reviews. Yes, we do need those reviews. And that is all for me. Co-authors, do y'all have anything you want to share before we log off?
Just thank you to everyone that's supporting us. It's been a blessing, and we couldn't do it without them.
Yes.
Thanks everyone that got in behind this project. It was a tough project. It really was. Like I said, we had to come to grip with some demons we had been facing and put them to rest. And so just thank you.
Yeah.
And Jamie, just thank you to Jamie, because I know, just her patience, and I know I couldn't do it without her, and I just appreciate her so much. I do.
Y'all know I love you. I love you.
Yes, thank you, Jamie.
I can't get rid of you if I tried.
I know.
You keep coming back. I must be doing something right, so that's good. So, but you know, we help one another. So I love what I do, and I love the moment when you get to hold it in your hand and you get to see, like, this is what I cried over. Like, it's done. So this has been a great, great project to work on all the way around.
Anyone else?
All righty then.
All right. Thank y'all.
Go buy the book, and if you haven't, share it or gift it to somebody else, and keep us at number 1 so we can keep doing bigger and better and greater things, y'all.
All right. Thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.